Imagine standing in the African savanna and witnessing something that shouldn't happen. A herd of elephants is moving across the landscape when one of them suddenly stops. Lying on the ground is the body of another elephant. The herd continues moving, but this elephant refuses to leave. Minutes pass. Then hours. It gently touches the body with its trunk. It stands silently nearby. Sometimes it even tries to lift the fallen animal. To human observers, the scene feels strangely familiar. It looks like grief. It looks like mourning. But appearances can be deceiving. Is the elephant simply reacting to something unusual? Or does it actually understand that death has occurred? Scientists have spent decades trying to answer that question. And what they discovered may completely change the way you see one of the smartest animals on Earth. For years, researchers working with wild elephants kept reporting the same unusual behavior. Whenever elephants encountered the bones of another elephant, they often reacted differently than they did to any other object. They didn't simply walk past. They slowed down. They investigated. They carefully touched skulls and tusks with their trunks. Some remained near the bones for long periods of time. Even stranger, elephants sometimes ignored the bones of other animals while showing special interest in the remains of their own species. This behavior appeared again and again in different elephant populations across Africa and Asia. At first, scientists weren't sure what it meant. But the more observations they collected, the harder it became to dismiss. Researchers decided to investigate further. In controlled experiments, elephants were presented with different objects. Some were ordinary items found in nature. Others included the skulls and bones of elephants. The results surprised everyone. Time after time, elephants spent significantly more time examining elephant remains than other objects. They used their trunks to explore every detail. They appeared especially interested in skulls and tusks. The findings sparked a major debate among scientists. Did the elephants recognize the remains as belonging to one of their own? Were they experiencing curiosity? Memory? Emotion? No one could say for certain. But one thing was becoming increasingly clear. Something unusual was happening. One of the most mysterious behaviors involves elephants returning to locations where another elephant died. In some cases, years may pass before they revisit the area. Yet when they arrive, they often investigate the remains once again. Imagine visiting the grave of someone you once knew. That's exactly why these observations attracted so much attention. Researchers wondered whether elephants were remembering individuals from their past. Their memories are already legendary. Elephants can remember migration routes, water sources, and social relationships for decades. Could those same memories also explain their reactions to death? The possibility was fascinating. But the next discovery was even more emotional. Humans often think of grief as a uniquely human experience. But evidence from the animal kingdom suggests the story may be more complicated. Elephants have been observed showing signs of distress after losing close companions. Some become unusually quiet. Others remain near the body of a deceased herd member. Mothers have even been seen staying with calves that did not survive. These observations raise an uncomfortable question. If elephants form deep social bonds, what happens when those bonds are suddenly broken? Scientists remain cautious about assigning human emotions to animals. Yet the patterns are difficult to ignore. And some of the most powerful examples come from real-world observations. In one documented case, a herd repeatedly visited the location where a matriarch had died. In another, elephants were seen gently touching and investigating the bones of relatives years after their deaths. Rangers and researchers across multiple countries have reported similar encounters. Again and again, elephants appeared drawn to the remains of their own kind. These stories captured global attention because they seemed to reveal something deeply emotional. Of course, scientists must be careful. Anecdotes alone are not proof. But when hundreds of observations begin telling the same story, people start paying attention. And that's exactly what happened. Despite decades of research, one mystery remains unsolved. No scientist can know exactly what an elephant understands about death. We cannot ask an elephant what it is thinking. We cannot see the world through its eyes. We only see behavior. Yet some of that behavior continues to challenge our assumptions. Why do elephants show special interest in elephant remains? Why do they revisit places associated with death? Why do they sometimes remain near deceased companions for so long? The answers remain uncertain. But each new discovery pushes scientists closer to a remarkable possibility. Elephants may understand far more about life and loss than we once imagined. So, do elephants understand death? The honest answer is that nobody knows for certain. But what science has revealed is extraordinary. Elephants remember. They form deep relationships. They recognize members of their social groups. And they react to death in ways that continue to surprise researchers around the world. Maybe they don't understand death exactly as humans do. Maybe their experience is completely different. But when an elephant stands silently beside a fallen companion, it's difficult not to feel that something meaningful is happening. Perhaps that's why these animals continue to fascinate us. They remind us that intelligence, memory, and emotion may exist in forms we are only beginning to understand. And if you think that's incredible, wait until you discover the animal that can recognize itself in a mirror and know that it's looking at itself. The next story may be even more surprising.